Again, now Eskom is identifying the worst of its non-payment offenders. It's always singled out Soweto. Now we know Ekurhuleni has been added to that list owing the power utility. Listen to this, 544 million rand. That's just over half a billion rand. Eskom is also planning to name and shame customers who are not paying their bills. My colleague, eNCA reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones, was up and about in Ekurhuleni earlier today. He's back now in the studio to give us an update. You know, when you came in, Pule, just now, you said you were from Ekurhuleni. I thought, yeah, Tupa Yako Tshwane, it's working, eh? When Tshwane cracked the whip, everybody else now says, hey, we better do this, because Eskom just went to Tshwane and says, hey, we are going to show you. You're going to pay us. And the other municipalities are now sort of behaving, and they know that they're going to be named and shamed.
Definitely, Brad. And it seems like their actions were loud. In fact, what we know is that Eskom says Tshwane was one of the municipalities in Gauteng that was owing a lot of millions. And that we've seen with the Tshwane Dima operations, which has collected so much revenue to try and stabilize the city, has been working. But they say the city of Ekurhuleni was owing 1.075 billion rand. They've only managed to settle 530 million rand, and the outstanding is 544 million rand. And they are saying, the Eskom is saying the city defaulted and it did not honor the agreement. So the agreement says
so there were some agreements in place on how to pay back the remainder.
It says that there was a contractual agreement which says after every invoice we send you, you must pay within 15 days. It says that 2 days have already elapsed now, and the city still hasn't paid.
And how old is this agreement from what you found out? Is it a new agreement?
It started last year, mid-year. And the city, according to what they told us, was that this was due to a COVID-19 pandemic which affected their finances and depleted their reserves. And therefore, they found themselves having to go into an agreement to try and see how can they settle this amount.
So you were there today, and what did you find out?
Well, I spoke to the MMC for Finance, who says that they will be paying the 544 million rand tomorrow. So he says that, in fact, there was an agreement, but they believe that it was a 30-day agreement, not a 15-day agreement. So they're of the view that they did not default any payments according to Eskom, and that they say they were quite concerned when Eskom released a statement yesterday to say they're owing. But he says that most of this debt, of course, was accumulated by some state-owned enterprises that haven't been paying, such as Prasa and Denel. And, of course, last year we do understand that some of the residents, their debts accumulated to about 18 billion. So there's quite a lot of unpaying culture that has been going on in the city of Ekurhuleni. And we spoke to the MMC for Finance earlier on, and he had some of this to say.
We have a monthly account of around 1 billion rand with Eskom. Part of that account was paid on the 18th of the month, which was half the account. The balance of the account, we pay 30 days from date of invoice. And so we were paying them on the 2nd of March, which is tomorrow, as per our normal standards. Now, there's a misunderstanding that's arisen, because they've interpreted 30 days to be the end of a calendar month. We've interpreted 30 days to be 30 days from date of invoice. So it's a difference of maybe 2 days that they are disputing, and the fact that they have been insisting on payment in 15 days, which is not the requirement of the MFMA. MFMA only requires us to pay 30 days. And yes, we used to pay 15 days up until 2020 when COVID hit, and our reserves were depleted. We are still paying Eskom from our reserves because we get paid for the electricity supplied after we have paid Eskom in many cases. So, you know, that is the problem. If they'd engaged with our accounts department as they should have, they would have got the answers and they would have been paid on time.
You see, the MMC making the point there, that makes me think. He says we pay Eskom first before we get paid, basically, because the municipalities buy from Eskom, and then the municipalities sell to residents like you and I, and then some residents can cope, some businesses can cope, as we saw in Tshwane. Some government departments don't pay. Definitely. Even the Gautrain station at Hellfield was not paying electricity. So there's a problem there.
In fact, what we also established in the city of Tshwane was you'd find residents paying some of the body corporates, but the body corporates don't pay the municipality, and therefore residents bear the brunt of these whole problems. What we also established today is that the Eskom is saying there's about 200 residents who've come to them to say, can we have a separate payment where we are metered separately and that they are billed separately and that they don't have to pay the municipality but Eskom?
By direct.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
I mean,
Eskom
you've
was
covered
going to
this
that.
electricity story very briefly, Pule.
Yeah.
You've been to Ekurhuleni, as you've said. You've been to Tshwane, now Ekurhuleni, and also in Joburg. Is that a similar kind of pattern you're picking up, that part of the challenge, not the main challenge, part of the challenge in this payment thing is that you've got this middle man called municipality between Eskom and the consumer?
Definitely, and you'd find that sometimes, like Eskom was telling us, that the municipality would have this money but not pay in time. They're still trying to find out what are the reasons.
I mean, Ekurhuleni are going to pay 544 million rand tomorrow. Where was it all this time?
Just before you go, brother, you need to understand something as well. We understand now that Ekurhuleni, Rand West, and of course Pule City are one of those as well who haven't been paying. And Eskom's like, yeah, but what's going on? Is there a lack of financial management? What is the problem? And that's affecting the residents.
That's another problem, financial management. Thank you very much, Pule, for that update from Ekurhuleni. But we sort of expanded on it a little bit because you've been covering this story as well, different municipalities. Thank you for sharing some of your understanding this hour here on Today.